guys, here today we're seeing a whole lot of red out there in the market, and my goodness, when I see all this red, it makes me hungry. It makes me want to talk about some restaurant stocks. Let's talk about some restaurant stocks here today in this video. I'm going to share with you the top 5 restaurant stocks, in my opinion, in the stock market right now. We know restaurants across the board or have been opening essentially for the last month or so. Some restaurants have had to close completely, at least the inside. Now, they have done different things as far as delivery, people picking up curbside, things like that. But restaurants have started to open over the past month. A lot of them are at 50% capacity. And for many of these restaurants, they do have to have at least 6 feet between the tables, but there are more and more opening. But the interesting thing with these restaurants are they've been pivoting. They've been pivoting in a big way to taking food delivery so much more serious than they ever have. Think about these big restaurants. A lot of these that we're going to talk about here today, they've always been focused on just like dine in and dine in food, and that's been their whole focus. But now, because of RONI Rona, essentially all of them are having to focus on food delivery. They're all taking this serious, and this is a new expansive opportunity for the company on all these different services. The DoorDash, the Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates, all these ones are offering more and more of these big restaurants, and it's going to help them out. I mean, we even saw here today, Square just announced they're going to try to get back into the food delivery game. And all this makes me conclude is that these businesses will probably be in a lot stronger position in 2022 when it comes to profitability and revenues than they actually were in 2019. I really look at this year as kind of being a down year, 2019 being a year, especially in the back half of 2019, of recovery, and I look at 2022 as kind of business being back to usual. But because of food delivery, that's just going to be a whole new opportunity for these companies they've never taken serious, and that will continue to expand once RONI Rona has passed. And then you add on top the fact that we've have so many restaurants in the United States of America and around the world that have barely been making it for the longest time. Barely been making it. Like, it's really, really close. And RONI Rona has likely put out a lot of these businesses. Look at this, okay? This came out back on March 27th. It's gotten a lot worse since March 27th for a lot of these restaurants, but this was back on March 27th, okay? The National Restaurant Association says 3% of restaurants are closed for good, and 11% could join them within a month. This basically, at the end of the day, a lot of these smaller restaurants that have barely been making ends meet for a long time, they're going under in this whole RONI Rona situation, which means there's less competition in the restaurant space, which is, pretty good thing for all these 5 companies I'm going to give you here today. So let's get into this, guys. Top 5 restaurant stocks. Hope you enjoy this. As always, smash that thumbs up button. That lets me know you enjoy a video like this where we talk about individual stocks, okay? First stock up here of the 5 stocks is Darden Restaurants. Ticker symbol DRI. This is a $70 stock here today. It's taking a 6% downward move, and it's starting to look a little interesting, okay? If you've never heard of Darden Restaurants, they own about 1,800 restaurants in total, including about 867 Olive Gardens, 518 Longhorn Steakhouses, 166 under the Cheddar's brand, and 79 Yard Houses, as well as 59 Capital Grills, and a few other brands that are smaller. Their main business is their Olive Garden business, and everything kind of comes after that, okay? Now, as far as valuation right now, it looks like it might be trading rich, right? A 22 forward P, almost pushing up against 23, when usually it trades at, let's say, a 14 to 18 forward P. But the thing you got to understand is this is a company, obviously, like all these restaurant brands, that's going through tough times over the next year. But after that, things should get pretty much back to normal, if not better than ever for this. I really like to look at the valuation, okay? $9.1 billion valuation. Look at the market capitalization of this company. It's trading at almost $15 billion usually, versus $9.1 billion. Absolutely, RONI Rona is hurting business short term. There's no doubt about that, and it will continue to hurt short term. But at the end of the day, RONI Rona will pass. These restaurants will do great again, and likely this is a company that's valuation will go back to $14–15 billion probably within the next year or so. And then you add on top that this is a company that has very nice profitability in any type of normal environment. They had been growing revenues, right? 2017, $7.1 billion, 2018, $8 billion, 2019, this past year they do $8.5 billion. Net income wise, from $479 to $596 to $713 million in net income this past year. Balance sheet wise, with Darden Restaurants, as far as cash and cash equivalents, over $300 million in cash and cash equivalents. And this is a company that could easily easily raise more money. I mean, there's just no question. Darden Restaurants, they can easily raise more money if they needed to. I think they'll be fine with $300 million on the balance sheet. I think that will get them through this whole RONI Rona situation just fine. But if they needed to, they absolutely could raise more money. I like Darden at $70 where it's at here today. Let me be very clear. I love Darden Restaurants at $50, okay? At $50 or below, I absolutely love this stock, and I have to purchase the stock very heavily if it goes down there. But even at 70 here, is definitely a very attractive valuation, okay? Stock number 2 up here. Let me give you guys a little hint, okay? Cake, 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 cake. You know that song? Okay, what about this one? Let me give you another hint if that wasn't good enough. Why you gotta fight with me at Cheesecake? You know I love to go there. It's a Cheesecake Factory. Congratulations if you guessed right there. Number 2 of 5, Cheesecake Factory. Ticker symbol cake, okay? It's a $22 stock here today. I mean, do I need to even explain this one? Like, just look at those cheesecakes. I mean, who cares about valuation? Who cares about the financials? Who cares about the underlying business? When you got cheesecakes that look like that, whoo-wee, that's about all I need. Oh my goodness, okay? Cheesecake Factory, this entire company today is selling for $1 billion, okay? $1 billion, you get the entire Cheesecake Factory. That's just a beautiful thing, okay? Something I appreciate about Cheesecake Factory in relation to its operations is this is a company that actually retains their employees for quite a long time, which is extremely hard to do in the restaurant industry. I mean, extremely hard to do. Look at their average tenure of a general manager, 13 years, okay? The restaurant industry, I'm telling you guys, this is the one industry that it's just, you just run through workers. You run through kitchen managers, chefs, general managers, you just run through them usually. Even like area supervisors and things like that usually run through. And Cheesecake Factory, for whatever reason, they do a very good job of retaining their talent, which is quite impressive, okay? Now, when it comes to Cheesecake Factory, it's not just about the Cheesecake Factory brand, although that is an expansive opportunity, not just in terms of like delivery and getting them more on delivery platforms, people picking up the food, as well as hopefully, expanding comp store sales over time and making those restaurants busier and busier and hopefully checks higher. But also, this company believes they can have 300 domestic locations over time. Right now, they only have 206, okay? 206 right now. They believe they can have 300 locations. But they don't just own the Cheesecake Factory, and that's what a lot of people don't even know. They think they just own Cheesecake Factory. They also own this up-and-coming restaurant brand. I got to try this place out. I've heard good things about it. We got one, I think it's in Summerlin area. It's called North Italy, okay? North Italy. They have a potential for 200 locations they're talking about just domestically. Right now, they only have 23 locations. So they're talking about potentially 10xing locations, let's say, over the next 5-10 years. And that one actually has a much higher average check than actually the Cheesecake Factory. So this one looks pretty dang attractive. Comp store sales in fiscal 19 were up 6% for this North Italy brand. So this has a big potential out there as well to grow the company. Then lastly, they own what's called Fox Restaurant Concepts, which basically they try out a lot of different new up-and-coming brands, okay? Basically, you start these restaurants, see how they do, see how comp store sales do, see how folks like these type of brands, and then essentially, if they find a hit, they'll go ahead and expand that into more and more states, more and more cities around the United States, and expand it further and further. And so they're constantly trying out new restaurant concepts, and I definitely appreciate that because that, when you're looking at a company with a $1 billion valuation, and you're thinking, how do we get to a $5 billion valuation over time, or a $10 billion plus valuation over time, you got to really come up with more brands than just having the Cheesecake Factory brand. Now, if we look back, this is a very important chart I'm sharing with you guys here, okay? This shows you comp store sales for Cheesecake Factory versus their peers. What you're going to find is Cheesecake Factory usually outperforms the other ones when it comes to growth. But the one I have circled there is actually the Great Recession, 2008 through 2010. Very important. Look at their sales went down much less than the industry. I think this is extremely, extremely important because we're thinking about right now with the whole RONI Rona situation. How long is this going to go for? Is it going to last another 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? We don't know, and we don't know what the lasting effects are. But let's just say, we're in a downturn for the next 1 to 2 years, right? Cheesecake Factory should perform better than everybody else performs if we go back to historically looking at how this company is done. And so that is definitely something that makes me feel much, much, much more bullish about this stock, okay? We look at the income statement of Cheesecake Factory, and we see this is a company that generally makes anywhere from 100 mil to 150 mil of net income a year, and that's just currently, okay? On a $1 billion market cap, that's pretty dang attractive, okay? That is pretty dang attractive. I believe they will get back to that place probably within 2 years, okay? Probably within 2 years, they'll be able to get back to that place where they're making anywhere from 100 mil to 150 mil of net income on that bottom line. Now, I will say, when you look at the balance sheet, they picked a great time to be increasing cash. You go back to 17, they only had 6 mil in cash. Then you go to 18, they increased that to 26 mil, which is over a 4x of their cash. And then essentially they over doubled up their cash going into this year with 58 mil. So it was a great time for Cheesecake Factory to basically be increasing cash. Let's put it that way, okay? Now, current year, obviously, sales are expected to fall big, 18.8% as far as revenue decline. Analysts expect the company to grow revenues next year, though, almost 30%. I will say I'm a little less bullish on next year as far as the numbers go. I like to be a little, I guess you say, a little more pessimistic than some of these numbers the analysts have. But I mean, you know, even if they grew 20%, that would be pretty dang impressive for next year numbers, okay? Overall, when it comes to Cheesecake Factory, I like this stock a lot at $22, which is what it's trading at here today. I love this stock at $20. I'm loading the boat if it ever was to go under $17 again. I highly doubt it's going there, but if it was to go ever under 17 again, I will load the boat on the stock. I really, really like this one, okay? Stock number 3 of 5. Let me give you a little hint, okay? All my exes live in Texas like I'm George Strait. Okay, I think you guys know this one. Oh my gosh, stock number 3 of 5, Texas Roadhouse, ticker symbol TXRH on this one. Is a $51 stock here today. I hope you guys are getting these hints, okay? Now, I gotta say, first off, I want this one lower. Texas Roadhouse, I want this one lower. This is a stock that usually trades at $50, $60 a share. It's trading at 51, 52. I gotta get this one lower. This is the one on this list where I'm like, I need it lower before I can really consider to buy this one. Although I do love it so much, okay? As far as the revenues, look at the growth over the past several years in revenue, just growing, growing, growing. Look at the net income growth, growing, growing, growing. It's one of the few restaurant chains that is actually very stable with their revenue growth and their net income growth as far as continuing to grow year in and year out. Also, it's my favorite restaurant chain. I think it's so well run. I love this one, okay? It's one of the only chain restaurants you might find me at. I drive all the way to North Las Vegas to go to the Roadhouse. North Las Vegas, you know how far that is? It's like 88 million miles away, okay? I drive all the way over there to go to Texas Roadhouse. You might see me in the yellow Model X one day there, okay? If you see a yellow Model X in the Texas Roadhouse parking lot, I can guarantee you that is me, okay? I can guarantee you that's me. And by the way, I just want to say I called this, okay? For a year, I was telling my wife they need to put a Texas Roadhouse on St. Rose. It's going to do crazy business. And all of a sudden, like just a couple weeks ago, they announced they're going to put a Texas Roadhouse on St. Rose. You know, unless you live in Vegas, you have no clue what the heck I'm talking about right now. Let's get back on track, okay? Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Texas Roadhouse. I told you guys I like the management team there. I think they're doing a great job. Wayne Kent Taylor will be donating his checks from the pay period beginning March 18th through January 7th, 2021, okay? So basically that money will be given to his workers. Louisville Business First reported Taylor's total compensation in 2018 was $1.3 million and his base salary was $525,000. He's actually donating that for his frontline employees. Very commendable, okay? Wayne, please create a YouTube channel. I don't care what it's about, just so we can smash your thumbs up button, okay? Just for that very commendable move there, okay? Very, you know, this is a very well-run company. Let's just put it that way, okay? Cash and cash equivalents on this company, $230 million as of the latest quarter. So this is a company that will easily get through, you know, whatever we're going through, whether this thing lasts 6 more months, 12 more months, 18 months, 24 months, it doesn't matter. This company will get through. So I love Texas Roadhouse. I'm not a big fan at the stock price it's at. I understand it's one of those stocks that always trades at a premium because it's such a well-run company, such a great company. I'm just not the biggest fan of where it's at right now, okay? Stock number 4 or 5. Here's your hint. Yeah, you got that yummy yum, that yum. Okay, I can't say that yum yum so many times, okay? Yum Brands is the stock up here. Stock number 4 or 5, $86 here today. If you don't know Yum Brands, I say you probably do know Yum Brands, you just don't know Yum Brands, okay? They own KFC, they own Taco Bell, and they also own Pizza Hut. 22,000 KFCs, which is crazy because they only have 7,000 Taco Bells. I would have thought they had way more Taco Bells than 7,000, but 7,000 Taco Bells, 22,000 KFCs, 18,000 Pizza Huts for the Yum brand. Now, if you think about this one, okay, you think about Taco Bell. Yes, they do have dine-in, where essentially you go up to the counter, you order, you go sit down, but how many people really do that in Taco Bell? I think Taco Bell, most people when they go to Taco Bell, they go through the drive-thru. Usually if you go to Taco Bell, drive-thru is always really busy, right? That's what most people do when it comes to Taco Bell. So this whole RONI Rona situation, I'm not sure how much it hurts the business, because most people go there anyways to go through the drive-thru, and the drive-thru has been open this whole time, right? KFC, same exact situation, right? Who really goes to like eat in a KFC? No judgment if you go actually eat in a KFC, but I'm like, if you go to KFC, usually you go through what? The drive-thru. You pick up your fried chicken and you go, okay? And then you think about Pizza Hut, right? Pizza Hut, back in the day, they used to have like dine-in. I don't even know of any Pizza Huts that still had dine-in. By the way, my mom used to be a waitress at Pizza Hut way back in the day. Isn't that crazy? A waitress at Pizza Hut back in the day when she was pregnant with me. And Pizza Hut over the last few decades, they moved to essentially like a strip mall strategy where they'll just, have a small location. You go in there, you pick up your pizzas that you called in or you online ordered, and there's like nowhere to like sit and eat at Pizza Hut. So at the end of the day, their business probably hasn't been hurt that bad. I mean, I can see maybe a sales dip a bit from some people that maybe don't even want to go for fast food. But at the end of the day, you think about how many restaurants have been closed, and if people still got to eat at the end of the day, right? And some people just don't feel like cooking, right? So some people might usually go to a restaurant, they're like, let's just go to Taco Bell tonight or KFC or go pick up some fast food. So actually some of these fast food chains might actually be doing a little stronger business, believe it or not, than what they would be doing usually, just because the amount of restaurants that have been closed, okay? Market capitalization on this one usually trades well over $30 billion. Anywhere from, let's say, $30 to $34 billion market cap. Usually that's where it trades. Here today, if you're buying Yum Brands, you get it for $26 billion, okay? So you're getting a, let's say, $4 to $8 billion discount on Yum Brands, a company that, maybe their sales have been hit a little bit, but it's got to be a very, very, very small amount when it comes to Yum Brands. This is a company that analysts are expecting revenue to decline 2.5% in the current year, okay? 2.5%. Personally, I think that's about right. I'm expecting 2 to 4% for Yum Brands, okay? But next year, the company is expected to grow revenues 10%, okay? 10% for next year. This is a company that's taking food delivery way more serious than they ever have before. I think in the past, Yum and a lot of these fast food big chains have looked at it as, well, we don't really need food delivery. People just come to our drive-thru and that's fine. But all these big players, all these big fast food companies have all of a sudden realized, oh, there's a huge market opportunity for us offering food delivery on Uber Eats and all these different services. And so I think Yum's actually another company out there that will actually see their business be stronger in a year or two from now than actually where it was last year, which is quite interesting. So we'll see what happens with that one, but it's very, very intriguing, okay? Last stock number 5 up here, okay? Do you guys know this one, okay? Here's your hint, okay? Yo, Dom, why you bring the Buster in here? Because the Buster kept me out of handcuffs. The Buster brought me back, okay? Now, is that my good Vin Diesel voice there? We're talking about this, just like the Fast and Furious. This is a high risk, high reward stock. Those guys over there and gals, they lived high risk, high reward. This is that high risk, high reward stock. Dave and Buster stock. If you guessed this one correct, give yourself a thumbs up, okay? Stock number 5 of 5. It's a $14 stock here. It's high risk, it's high reward. If you don't know Dave and Buster's, this is their motto. Eat, drink, play, okay? It's like a restaurant meets kind of like a sports bar meets an arcade, okay? I guess I'm showing you guys some images now. And, it's a cool place. It's a cool place usually. The main issue is, just look at some of these photos. Look at, they're playing in the arcade. Everybody's close together. Everybody's touching everything. It's the exact opposite place you'd want to be in a RONI Rona situation, right? Who wants to be playing air hockey next to a whole bunch of people when RONI Rona is going on and playing at all these machines? Like, it's the exact wrong business model you want in today's day and age of RONI Rona going around, right? It's like the worst, okay? And then think about all the people that would usually be playing at these games and not clean their hands and go back and start eating or drinking and things like that. People are nasty. Believe me, I've seen it all the time, okay? And it's just not a good business model at the moment. moment. Let's just be completely honest. The other issue with this one is their balance sheet. This is a company that's only had, going into the RONI Rona, their balance sheet was so weak. $24 million in cash and cash equivalents. That's a really low number for a company the size of Dave & Buster's. Ticker symbol play on this one, okay? But they did raise some money very recently, so now they have $156 million in cash and cash equivalents. They also increased their debt by the same amount essentially, but they have more cash. So the likelihood they'll go under, much smaller now, okay? It is much smaller likelihood that they will go under in this whole scenario. We see that analysts expect this company to decline massively this year. 50% decline in revenue growth expected this year. But on the flip side, next year, analysts are expecting 69% revenue growth. That number will be 100% dependent on RONI Rona and how that goes into the fall and into the winter time. If we see RONI Rona calm down in a big way or kind of just slowly go away or something like that, I could see Dave & Buster's having 69% revenue growth next year. If RONI Rona cases continue to climb in a major way, I don't think there's any way possible this company grows 69% next year, although I could see growth pretty much regardless just because they're going to come off of such a horrible 2020. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Dave & Buster's stock, ticker symbol play, this is a stock that's $14 here today. This is a stock that usually trades $30, $35, $40, $45 a share, okay? As long as they make it through, they're probably going back to $30, $40 a share again. It's probably not going to happen tomorrow, but over the course of the next 1 to 3 years, this will probably be a $30 to $40 stock again as long as they make it through this, because likely business will resume. A lot of people do love Dave & Buster's, and so I can definitely see their net income coming back in a couple years, okay? But once again, I just want to mention, this is a high risk, high reward play. It's not as risky as it was though, because they did raise that extra cash now, so they have a little more leeway there with play, okay? And Kevin, if you're watching this video, you know who you are. I hope you enjoyed that one, okay? So guys, down there in the description area, I got a bunch of free resources linked down there if you want to check out and just kind of know more about me or my private stock group. You can check out that down there. How to outperform the stock market's a free document that I wrote for you guys in 2020. If you want to check out that, that's down there, as well as some other resources. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, let me know in that comment section what your favorite restaurant stock is right now. I'd love to hear from you guys. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.